Hello fam, how y'all doing? It's your Uncle Tim. How you doing, Tim? This is Uncle Tim Rants and Reviews, a channel where I do a lot of ranting. Not a lot of nice reviews, so let's keep that real. Uh, hey. But thank you for watching. Thank you for all the love and the support. Thank you for all the positive energy and the great feedback that you give. And thank you for being so involved with the channel. You know, this is not my channel. This is a community of collectors, you know, of various items and whatever have you, fam. But you know what? I'm on. I was sitting there having a conversation with somebody. I think this was yesterday, fam, right? So you know how you have the old G.I. Joes, right? The old He-Man, right? You remember Black Star, right? You remember, what is that guy? Brave Star. You remember he used to say strength of the bear. You know, like strength of the bear. Then all of a sudden, you know, they showed a bear or something. Then you remember his horse that used to turn into like damn near a man and have a big old gun. Oh man, sectors, centurions, and humans. I mean, and humanoids. It was some other ones, man, that I can't even name. Thunder the Barbarian. I was waiting for those toys to drop. You know, I still didn't get into it yet, but I'm like, I want to buy them because, you know, the figures, they look amazing. Fam, but I want to say something. The reason why I bring up all the old school figures, even though I talk about posability, articulation, sculpt, overall design, and paint jobs, man, you know, I was just looking at some of the older toys from yesterday, you know, back when I was a kid. You know, this ain't got nothing to do with the price or anything like that. You know, technology now is different from what it was back then. And let's just keep it real. But still looking at those toys from back in the day, I was looking at them like, you know, some of the Transformers, the Gobots. I was just thinking, man, the playability factor is still there. It's like, soon as you bring them out, it's like, damn, you start transform, you making noises and everything. It's just like those toys bring out something that was, you know, locked away for a little while, like the inner child. Okay, these are fantastic, but these look like mini sculptures and things like that. Those, you knew exactly what the old school ones were. They were just toys. You know, He-Man, you know, his legs was on rubber bands, basically. You know, he had that one pose. His arms can go up and down. That's about it. And he hold a sword. His hand go from right to left. You know, but that was what we had. And our imaginations back then was fantastic. See, I talk a lot about all that stuff that you see back here, articulation and, you know, everything else. But see, back then it was something different. And back then we were a lot younger. Inflation wasn't what it wasn't what it is now. You know, you could buy $100 Terradrome, and it was $100. You buy $100 U.S. flag, it was $100. Fam, I know y'all looked up there and said, "Oh, you got a U.S. flag up there?" I thought about it. Came close to pulling the trigger on it. You know, me and the guy talked about it. We was Facebook Marketplace. He gave me a reasonable price. And what he asked for, man, I had to say, was really a reasonable price. Even if I took it and bought it, I could have sold it for damn near triple. The thing that I was trying to say here was, I slowed that one down because, again, when you start getting bad vibes from the situation, right? You know, the times that this guy wanted to sell it kind of changed. You know, the places that this person wanted to meet kind of changed. I'm not one person to meeting somewhere in the middle of nowhere. I'm one of those people that, look, we gonna meet right at the police station. Even the damn police be looking at you because, you know, I did a couple of deals at the police station. And they were looking like, what the hell going on right here? I said, oh, this is a Facebook Marketplace deal. And they were like, oh, okay, go on, continue, man. I understand. Hell, this is one call we don't want to have to go on, right? So I understood, right? So, but the guy kept moving it around. And if I told you the price of what this guy wanted, He later on got back to me and he apologized for all the runaround, but he was talking about he was going through something, and it wasn't nothing that out of the ordinary. He said because he knew how it looked himself, so he was like, "Man, if you still want to buy it, I'll sell it to you." He said, "I'll lower the price." Man, you know what? I thought about it, and I'm gonna say something. I'm kicking myself now, but you know what? On hindsight, looking back on it, I'm glad I didn't buy it. The reason why I'm glad I didn't buy it, I really don't have the space to put it. That's one. Two, it was cheap enough for me to buy. Three, I just didn't like the way how everything was changing, and he dropped the price. Fam, when something is too good to be true, even though I know a lot of y'all said, hey, that might have been one of your blessings right there, but sometimes when stuff will look too good to be true, back up. Just back up. Because see, that's something totally different. I kind of got I got that gut feeling that was telling me to stop, so I stopped. The reason why I bring all of that up is, there are some incredible deals out here still. I was saying that, last year's flea market and garage sales and yard sales were like dry. There's nothing left in the wild. But I noticed in this year that there's a lot of stuff in the wild right now. Passed by a garage sale, my wife said, "Do you want to stop? Do you?" Women, just but she was all in with me. She said, "You want to stop?" And I was like, I said, "No, I just got off of work. Really don't want to go to a garage sale right about now." And I was looking at the stuff that they had, and I said, "Man, you should stop." But I said, sometimes, I said, because I seen a lot out there, and I said I should have picked that up. A lot of Joes, old school Joes, and the reason why I bring this up because there's stuff out there to be found. There's stuff to be sold. There's stuff to be bought. The reason why a lot of the retro toys still have a lot of collectability, it's the way they were made. They wasn't made to look like works of art, pieces of art. They were made to be toys. They transformed. They sat on whatever, accessory they had, they flew or whatever they supposed to did. It was just an entertaining time. Castle Grayskull wasn't a piece of art. It was a hunk of plastic that even today's standard, you gotta say, y'all could have did a whole lot better. When they brung out brung out Castle Grayskull again, brought out, I pointed out, I said, it looked just like it did before. It just got a little brown paint on it. I said, they could have did a lot better. But the one in 2000 was a lot better. My thing is Castle Grayskull is supposed to be the center of the Masters of the Universe collection, right? Castle Grayskull is supposed to be big. My whole thing is it should be a big box. Like it should be gigantic. The front should be a giant gate and, the skull and all of that. With a little bit of the back, and you can see like, the inside and the back and all the, big old fence and border around. This is what Grayskull is supposed to look like. It's supposed to be a playset that you could actually play with. Can't really play with the Castle Grayskull. When I was little, we tried to play with it, tried to do stuff with it. That's one thing that a lot of us got upset with. As far as the U.S. flag, U.S. flag. They also had this oil rig deck for G.I. Joe. I got that over there. I think I got two of them. They're missing pieces. But, my whole thing is, a lot of times if you get to know some of the people that you do business with, as far as deals with, they offer up other deals to you. The guy wanted to sell me some Cobra Rattlers. I was thinking about them. But my space. Your unc's space. He ain't got that much of space. Now, I don't want a whole room dedicated to G.I. Joe. I don't. I don't want a whole room dedicated to one thing. I like having various things on display because it says a lot about your collection. It depends on what you into. You may just be into one line. That's cool. But far as myself, I'm off into a lot of stuff, and I like a lot of stuff displayed. You know, is this collection bigger than the one I had? No. The Transformers I had just alone would have took up all the shelves I had here. And this was what? About 4 years ago. In 2018. I had like one of the biggest sets. I had every Optimus Prime, all the Megatrons. I had all of them lined up on shelves. I had comic books across the wall, back of boards with pins in them, thumbtacks in them. I mean, push pins in them to keep them on the wall. Fam, it was really nice. I was looking for pictures of all this stuff, and I was like, I can't find this stuff. That was a different part of my life, and sometimes it's best to let stuff go. Maybe it is, fam. One thing I like playing with back in the day with my friends were Hot Wheel cars. Hot Wheel cars, man, you would play with those. Y'all be outside playing with them. Y'all laughing. You didn't care if you towed a damn car up. Hot Wheel cars are hard to tear up. You playing with the little racetrack. You remember the RC racetracks? Remember the electric ones, by Tyco and all of them? Fam, your boy had Tyco racetracks. I had a ton of them as a whole grown-ass man. This was like a good 6-7 years ago. I had a whole room with nothing but Hot Wheel track into it. Because, when I get off into stuff, I get into it hard. But, I felt all this stuff was so cheap, fam. It's like once you get into something, if this is your first time into it, you can find the stuff. If you get off into Marvel Legends, I got off into Marvel Legends, and I was able to find, all of those up there. All these up here, I was able to find all of them. I got off into a couple of other things, and I was able to find those things without a problem. It's when you first get off into stuff, you can find it. But if you trying to do it the third time, you may not have the right luck or the best luck at things. Like I said, I had those Tyco RC tracks, man. I used to be in there with the kids, and we would play them, and the cars go zooming around the track. I had the loop-de-loops. I had the one where it goes up, goes around the little thing, then it comes down. I had all that. The cars were killing it. And plus, these had the plugs that you plug into the wall, so you didn't need batteries. Man, I had this track beaming. You know how you take sandpaper and clean the little track rails? I was cleaning everything. The cars was zooming so fast, they were flying off the track because the track was so clean. It was connected really good, and all the parts were working. There was no broken pieces, fam. So I ended up getting rid of that because I couldn't, man, fam, I got off into Nerf guns, and I had all those, man. It was hard to offload some of that stuff. I had all of them. Fam, I was just off into stuff. I was trying to find a hobby. And see, that's one thing that I was talking to a lot of you all about with hobbies. Sometimes you need to start slow. And, a lot of people got on me about that Final Faction, and they like, what the hell is this? This cheap stuff? You promoting this? Are you getting some sort of discount or kickback from these people? No. The reason why I promoted that $1.25 cent, it's a good way to decide if you want to get off into this form of collecting, because it's best to start out cheap before you start putting money into a hobby that you don't know if you don't keep it up. You go out and buy 10 G.I. Joes valued at what? 19 or 29, 19 to 22.99, or some of them 24.99. We say you bought all Alley Vipers 10. That's a lot of money. But when you look at all of this stuff, this is why I say start slow. I got off into video games. Like I said, I have done this 3 different times with video games. I have sold my collection in the past where I was like upset because I sold it for really cheap. The second time, oh wow. The money I got for it the second time, you might as well say shit. It was damn near 5 times what I got for the one in the beginning. Fam, I learned 2 things. You sell it yourself on eBay. But see, that was before all of this, before everything got raised up in prices. And if you got quality pieces, it don't need to be factory sealed and all of that. People are really wanting to find certain things to finish their collections. And if you got it, I was selling TurboGrafx 16s, Turbo Duos, Super Duo Rs, TurboGrafx 6 CD. I had two of those. I had two of the Japanese versions. I had two of the suitcase versions. I had the Duo that I had got from Toys R Us back in the day for $100 because Toys R Us had a situation where they found some in a stock room. Yes, in a stock room. They found some, and the guy was like, man, he said, I want to buy me one, but he said, look, I sell it for $100. I came back the next day with that $100 and bought it. People try to tell you what you should invest in. You know what has value, and certain things can be resold, rebought, or whatever you want to look at. But I've been looking at my collection and trying to figure out where I want to go next with it. What line that I want to pick up, because I was looking at all the retro stuff. I'm not talking about that retro carded stuff that, you got the Super 7 G.I. Joes, the Super 7 Transformers. I don't want that stuff. I want the old retro. So I've been looking at eBay for some of like the Transformers, the Joes, the Silverhawks, the Thundercats. I've been looking for some of this stuff. All the toy lines that I mentioned, I was looking for them. Why? Because I thought it might be something good. The Wheel Warriors, Jason and Wheel Warriors, the New Adventures of He-Man. Fam, I was looking for everything. Why? Because, see, the childhood in your mind, having, that childhood fantasy in your head of like, man, I was sitting there watching such and such, and I had a good time back in the day. And this is what I'm doing now. Fam, look, if you got some kids, introduce them to your old retro toys. Introduce them to them. Explain to them, how to play with them, how to treat them, and, how to go about it. About imagining new scenarios and all of that, and, how, everybody wanted to be Voltron when I was little, not Tranzor Z or Mazinger Z, have he called, whatever. Fam, these were just cool moments. Godzilla and all of that. We had some of those toys. Fam, back in the day, the toys wasn't made of absolutely nothing. They were so cheap. I mean, well, they weren't that cheap. They were made of hard plastic, right? E-Man, his arms were like, they were like the hardest plastic, but his legs, I don't know. Then, trying to get him to stand up, he would stand up. But, if things move, he'd fall, and he'd try to catch himself on a shelf. I done had that many a times. It looked funny. But it's just amazing looking back at childhood and looking at now. I understand those times are different from these times. But it seemed like the old stuff, the old play sets, hold up a lot better than the new play sets. I can't imagine new play sets right now. Do they have any? Super 7 supposed to be trying to create a cat's lair. He-Man's Masters of the Universe got the old He-Man Castle Grayskull. I like the one from I think it was 2000, that Castle Grayskull. I don't know if X-Men had an X-Mansion or something. I remember they had the Blackbird. Zoids, I don't think they had a base. I got the Castle of Lions up there for Voltron. And it makes you think. Then on this side I have the G.I. Joe shuttle, along with the booster. Then the other shuttle. Then it's another shuttle over here. Then it's two Pterodromes at the top. It's one on the second shelf. And that's another thing. People were offering up Terra drones because they seen that I had them, and they were offering me deals on them. Like usually when I get them, they're bare bone, right? It's like you get the upper part and the lower part. Like the base, it's bare bones. You ain't getting nothing with it. It's bare bones for $100. And about time I'm through with it, you have just about everything. Fam, this is what I'm talking about. You take your time with your collecting. You take your time. You bring some of the old stuff and put it with your new stuff. It holds up very well. If you look at the G.I. Joe Terra drone right there, if you look at it, I don't know if you can see it, but if you look at it, it looks really good with the 6-inch Joes. If you look at the Cobra Night Ravens, they look really good with the 6-inch Joes. I found that a lot of stuff looks fantastic. It's just your imagination to put it together. So fam, these are just my thoughts, and I've been having a lot of people reach out to me about some of the systems I have in the back because they see a lot of them sitting back there and asking, are they for sale? No. There's like, why do I have so many? A lot of them are from different regions. And instead of having to do so much with them, I just connect the system. It's either a step down converter or a step up converter. You just use that. Yeah. You can still find consoles really cheap. A lot of retro stuff a lot of people been talking about. They said, hey, the retro stuff is pretty much dead. It's hard to find it. No, it's not. It's still out there. You can find all this stuff, fam. I've been looking and I'm like, man, it's so much stuff to be had out here. It's just amazing. And this is what I've been looking at. I've been trying to do the thought process on that. I've been falling short with Funko Pops because your uncle is a collector of Funko Pops. You all know that. And, as you notice, as a period of time goes, you only get so much of new stuff. And, I looked at Walmart and Target, a lot of stuff, like I said, the great clearance tag ticket sales at both locations. The only reason why I don't buy those because they put the clearance ticket on the actual window box. Put it on the side, put it at the bottom, somewhere where nobody will see it, where it won't stick out and mess the display up. These I don't take out the box because I like them in the box. I actually like the setup of the display. I actually like the way how things look. Fam, at the end of the day, I look at it this way. I've been working on a lot of stuff that I have here, trying to get stuff situated. I've been looking at the Maestro cars, Costco usually sell them at this time of the year. They usually have just a whole large variety. I want to buy the Lamborghinis and stuff like that. I want to get my situation back the way it used to be. But, I'm slowly but surely rebuilding. Like I said, it takes a minute. I was thinking of putting some stuff in storage, but I said, man, I don't want to do that no more. Storage is like putting your stuff on layaway. You already bought it, but you're paying for it multiple and multiple times. I don't know if that's a good idea. Sometimes it's best if you done with something, let it go. But if you still trying to hold on to it. Like I said, I've been getting off into the gadgets. And if you look off to the side, you see my projector. I use this every now and then. The projector's here. You have the Pitbull hair shaver. My wife bought me this one right here. What it does is shaves your head. You put the batteries in it. The hair goes inside the shaver so it doesn't go all over the flow. I think that the Amazon Echo, then you got that colorful light bulb that changes. That is so cool there. The light bulb right here. It's a lot of other gadgets. It's a mini helicopter up here that's really cool that it just flies all over the place. I was trying to get off into drones. But drone prices are really different and you have to get them, I think, something with the FAA because the flying height and you might, come in contact with planes. So I want to kind of shy away from that because, they can be kind of dangerous. But I've been looking at a lot of things, fam, and I've been trying to see what it is that I'm trying to get done. What I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to get accomplished here. slowly but surely slowing my roll on some stuff. You know, like I said, the old versus the new, there's a lot of new stuff and there's a lot of old stuff. I still got a lot of the old stuff, but you know, the old stuff is so small. And you know, you would have stacked up going all the way back to the back of Joe's, and you looking at them. I remember back in the day when Dollar General and Family Dollar was actually selling Joe's for $2. The Valor versus Venom. You know, that deal right there was pretty good. You know, you was getting Joe's for $2. They wasn't of quality like they were back in the day, but they were more like, um, you can tell they were like $2. Man, I should have bought a whole lot of those. I did. At the time, they had the Red Cobra Hiss tanks at KB Toys. I bought quite a few of them. The Night Ravens were really cheap back in the day. I had quite a few of those. You know, it just lets me know. I understand times change, you know, inflation done drove stuff up, but you know, I understand all that. It's just, I want to tell all of y'all, make sure that the hobby you getting into is one that you like. You know, I look at the new He-Man opposed to the old He-Man, and just say, wow. You know, I'm just looking at some of the stuff that, you know, I just want to pick up. Man, but to later, fam, thanks for watching. Peace out.